Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Airsick Hydra here, and in today's video we're going to be going through the power level system, explaining what it is, why it's there, the implications of it, and how to get around and use it. We've got a lot of new players and this thing is pretty confusing. It needs a tutorial, but obviously we don't have one yet, but Hydra is here to save the goddamn day. So starting things off, let's have a look at the star map here. You'll see we're zoomed out as far as we can within the Caligari sector or Caligari sector. Here we have our first subsector. If we click on this, you'll notice it's referred to as a tier. A subsector is part of a tier system. What this means is that each one of these subsectors is of basically it's a chapter of the game. A chapter meaning that it is different in difficulty and progression to the other chapters. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Moving in, we now have access to see what is within this subsector. What we'll do is we'll travel straight there and see what's cooking. Okay, and here we are within the sector. You'll see we have a total of 5 different planets and 4 different power levels, all within this subsector, or within the first tier of the game. What you'll notice is that each one of these numbers is basically the power level of that planet. Now, I'm going to say this once to begin with, and then I'm going to want you to repeat it with me. A power level is a mission modifier, okay? Just say that one more time because it's so important to grasp this concept. A power level is a mission modifier. Mission modifier. Okay, so let's look at what a power level actually is by going back to the character screen and taking a look at our character. So here we are with an assassin I made earlier. Oh, look at that, she runs on the spot while you're clicking here. That's fan-dabby-dozy, love it. So moving over here, we have the attack and defense power level. What you'll notice is that each piece of gear has an attack or defense rating assigned to it. So here, looking at this plasma pistol, you'll notice it has a fist with a 7 there. That is an attack rating of 7. You'll see in the figures down below there is a +3 that is highlighted in green. That means it's +3 power rating or attack power from what I have currently. So the attack power up here, this is the sum total of all of the attack doodah-hickeys I've got thus far. So you'll see I'm 8 points towards getting level 2 and I need a total of 66. So all of your gear, the attack and defense ratings, you can see we've got 1166, 111, all of this cooking around here, not a lot of good gear on this guy. All of this adds up to make your attack and defense power level. It's worth saying that this has nothing to do with how much damage you do. This has nothing to do with your character's sheet DPS. Sheet. I said sheet DPS. Now what we're going to do is explain how the hell this works. So we're going to go back to the subsector for a second and use that as a reference point. Here we are once again. So I am power level 1 in both offense and defense. And what you have to remember, again, this is a mission modifier. So as level 1, I'm going to head to a level 2 area and find a mission, and I will help demonstrate to you the impact of the level difference. So being a level 2 mission that I've now selected, if we load into one of these, what we'll do is we'll see how playing against a sector that is +1 level impacts the gameplay. So up here we have effectively +1 difficulty, which is -20% to the damage I deal, +50% to the damage I receive. So that's for a +1 difficulty setting. Okay, so if we go back again, and now we're going to load up a sector 3. So what this is going to be relevant to me, this is going to be a +2 difficulty. So what we're going to do, we're going to load in that right now and see what effect that has. And here is a mission from the level 3 as promised. So here you can see for a +2 difficulty we have -40% damage dealt, +100% damage received. Now if I was level 3 and I was against this mission, this would no longer have these modifiers because it is not +2 difficulty anymore. It is always relevant to your current level. This means as you progress, relevant to yourself, further power levels will in effect get easier. Now, this is where things get a little bit confusing because yes, technically, if you're going up in power level, you will do more damage to the same power level that you were on. However, if you're always playing at the same power level, you will do the goddamn same damage. And this is the advantage and the disadvantage of the goddamn system. Love these little clips, by the way. Good job, Megaport. I know it was you. Right, moving back to the system, let's use some of these for a little bit of a visual aid. Some of you are probably pondering some questions now. Why is this here? What does this do? Well, what happens is that essentially every enemy within this area or within this whole subsector has the same damage, and all of your gear sets have the same damage in terms of damage table. So all weapons within here range from 90 to 110. 1 to 4, absolutely the same. The enemies do the same, only the mission modifier changes. So as you go along, if you're always playing at the same power level to what you are, the difficulty is always going to be neutral. If you're always playing +1 difficulty, you have basically it's a difficulty modifier of sorts. You get to choose what planet you play on. That influences what difficulty you're playing at. So some of you are probably thinking, well, why? Just why is this here? This seems like such a weird system. It's so overly complicated. There is a huge advantage to this. Because every enemy does the same damage, because every character has the same stats on their gear, this means 4 people can play together and have the same experience if you ignore their power levels, and that's how it works. If I invite a bunch of people to my game, I'll see if I can get any now, but I probably won't. If I can invite some people to my game and I select the mission, the game ignores their power levels. The game completely ignores their power levels and only factors in the mission relevant to the host. So if I'm power level 2 and I select a power level 3 mission, it is minus 20% damage done for everyone, plus 50% damage taken for everyone. That is the beauty of the system. So this means is that I've been playing for 3 hours and my mate has been playing for 15 hours and he's power level 4 and I'm power level 1. Typically in an ARPG we couldn't play together without one of us being boosted, or, well, either way it's just a crap time for one of us. It's either too easy for one or too hard for the other. But what this system does is it means that I can play on my planets if I host, he can play on his planets if he hosts, and we get the same level experience. We both have the same experience of playing the game. This really means that the game development is geared more towards the co-op community sense. It's going to be very, very focused on getting people playing together. Of course, you don't have to play it together. It's completely single player centric if you want it to be. But the ability to play with other people and have the same experience in terms of your character's capability is completely freaking new to the ARPG genre. Well, normally you've got someone that's freaking carrying and everyone else is lagging behind saying, oh, I wish I had that amazing weapon. Now, you might still be wondering, why am I going to progress in areas then? What's the point in bothering if I've got to grind 4 different gear sets for these different power levels? That is the disadvantage. What they're doing or what they're saying is, yes, you will have to grind a new set of gear to go from sector 1 to 2, a new set of gear from 2 to 3, a new set of gear from 3 to 4. That is the downside of this. However, the upside is there too, so you have to take the pros and the cons. The reason for the progression and the way they're going to incentivize the progression is by saying to you, if you keep progressing through, what you will do is you will get access to more skills, you will get access to more attribute points, you will get access to new weapons and new abilities. Oh, I've had a haircut. Lovely jubbly. Well, there you go. So that's thrown me a little bit. Wow. I'm also missing a gun. Well, there you go. There you go. Moving on. So that basically means that there is incentive to level. It's not, though, that your gear will get better. It's so that your character will get better. And on that note, some of you will and have asked in the past, but if I'm on level 1 and I want to skip this planet, I can get to play with my level 3 character and I can get that gear. No, you can't. If you're level 1, you always get loot relevant to your character. It doesn't matter who's hosting. Every character in a party, no matter what their level, will always get loot relevant to their own level. So important to know. This basically means that it doesn't matter what planet you play. You have to spend about 4 hours on each power level progressing through. So no matter who you play with and how you play, you've got to spend roughly 4, 8, 12, 16 hours to complete this rough area. I know it's not 4 hours at the moment, but that's what it's going to be once the devs have done a little bit of tweaking. So that's roughly what we can expect. Guys, this is how the power system works. There are advantages, there are disadvantages, but this is what it is, and hopefully some of you guys can see the positives in terms of playing with other people. Do bear in mind who's hosting the mission has a massive impact on the difficulty, and don't get yourself too down about having to grind new gear sets, because hey, at least your character is progressing. One last final point though before I go, for the people that have said, well, if I don't want to play planets 1, 2 and 3 and I get my friend to host a level 1 mission so it's super easy so we can just grind that mission, that's all well and good. But if it's classed as very easy, i.e. -3 difficulty, then you get absolutely sod all in terms of credits, in terms of experience and in terms of other things. So while you could use that to potentially exploit the no, it's not an exploit, but you could use it to power farm through the experience of a subsector. Really, it's not actually getting you as far as someone that's playing the game at a normal difficulty elsewhere. So yes, you can use the power level system to be boosted, but no, it's not really worth it because you're not getting the same experience that you would have got normally. So this is actually a really nice change. You cannot power level your buddies in this game. Wow, what a great new thing for an ARPG, actually having to play it to progress through levels. Who'd have thought? Guys, that's the power level system. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't, but that's what it is. Enjoy. I'll see you in the next guide.